Major factor is just Pep. They started the season slow. They started slow, and then now tactically he changed his tactics and just went for it. So probably he's evolving as a coach. He evolved as a coach. Did the back three, it worked. Brought Stones to the midfield, it worked. I think Stones has been fantastic after he's from moving from the defensive to the midfield. I think that's one of the factors that has helped them. I think that just Pep adaptability, Pep evolving. I think that is the difference.
Elijah?
For me, it's Haaland. Haaland just changed the narrative. Haaland changed the narrative that Pep plays with a system. But this time, he had to adapt to a player. The only time we saw Pep adapt to a player was in his time in Barcelona with Messi. But now, this is a different type of player. This is a number 9. Pep hardly plays with a number 9. With a false 9, yes, but
with an out and out
traditional number 9. He'd never. And he just adapted and said, like, it's like, just threw down the gauntlet and like, okay, so let's go. Let's play with this guy. Let's give him the ball. Let's play 2 passes and we're into the box. Instead of following the system, you be here, you be there. 22, we are going for the title. Let's do what we have to do to get the title and the other trophies. Because that's where they are. They are 2 matches away from history.
A historic treble.
Yeah, treble, yes.
Something that Man United have always been
I'd say
bragging
Pep.
about.
The first factor is Pep. Second factor is winning mentality, their mentality. Second factor is their investment over the years. And with the the fourth factor will be the quality players that they have invested in over the years. Like what Mourinho said, back then they had Aguero, Kevin, Sterling, and many other players. They really invested, and it took some time. It took some period of time for them to really get it right. And the moment they got it right, they ensured that they maintained the winning culture within the team.
I think it's several factors. And I'm happy that before you guys go, Arsenal didn't do, I'm happy that you guys have first of all just focused on what I think City did. Now, I think the key thing, like you said, is adaptability. Pep decided, I'm going to shift, I'm going to get a striker. He's never really been a big fan of strikers. He fell out with Ibrahimovic, fell out with Eto'o, fell out with Lewandowski. They were never really, really good. Yeah. He's always liked the false 9. He liked the fluidity up front. Then decided, I am going back to getting a 9. So he got a 9. And he spent all the way until maybe January this year, where he was still trying to figure out, how do we fit this team? January, February. Yes. Yeah. Because this hasn't been City's smoothest run. If you think about it, but it's his ability to make key decisions. Now, one of the decisions was, you know what? I am going to play with Haaland. I am changing my formation with Haaland. Secondly, because I need to accommodate Haaland, but when I put Haaland, I lose a bit of control in the middle. Yeah. I have got to find a way to use one of my defenders as a midfielder. Yeah. Not in the Philip Lahm kind of way where he basically took Philip Lahm into midfield, but have a guy who moves between midfield and defense seamlessly. Now, he was not scared to try it. And believe it or not, one of the guys he gives credit for is Rico Lewis. Yeah. Because he says, Rico understood what I want, even though he doesn't have the experience and the maturity. So what Rico did was to do something that made Kyle Walker and John Stones figure it out. So once those two understood, oh, this is what he wants, so he was able to switch it. Secondly, remember initially he wanted the fullback to go into midfield. Then he realized, no, not necessarily the fullback. I am going to put the center back into midfield. Yes. So that switch worked a charm because he was trying to do that with Rico. Once he removed Rico, then he put John Stones at right back. Then he figured out, hold on. If I play with a back 3-ish, when we attack is a back 3, when we defend, it drops into a 4, it works. And I was reading about Bernardo Silva saying about control, that they realized they stopped forcing and pushing. They make sure they are deliberate and patient so that if they lose the ball, they have enough numbers not to get caught out on the counter. Because that's what has always killed City. Yeah. They try so hard and then you hit them on the counter. So John Stones' adaptability, fantastic. So he was able to figure that out. Secondly, that team just has leaders. When you watch that video of them, I'll play it for you, of the players talking in the build-up to every week in, week out. Gundo, Ruben Diaz. City has men, and Teddy spoke about it a few weeks ago. Yeah. Just experienced men. Like people who want the challenge, people who want to fight. And he kept saying, we are not giving it to the Arsenal, we have got to push them to the end. And I think that also worked. Then, of course, you look at his ability to... Pep has this thing where he benches you, kicks you out of his team, puts you out, you fight. Then when you're at your most angry, he puts you back in the team. KDB's gone through it. Bernardo Silva has gone through it quite a bit. Bernardo Silva played at left back.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And then all of a sudden, come March, he just decides, no, pause everything. Come all of you. And then this system allowed him to have all those ball carriers in his team. So there was enough space for Grealish, Gundo,
Yes.
KDB, Bernardo Silva. There's space for all of them.
Yeah.
Because John Stones can go into be the extra guy next to Rodri, then drop back and drop. So and then of course, getting rid of Cancelo.
Yeah, true.
Because Cancelo was the main guy who was, because there was a lot of fight. Let's not kid ourselves. City haven't been smooth from August to
Yes,
May.
they haven't.
No,
No.
they haven't.
But the guy who was the ringleader of the players who are unhappy was Cancelo. So he looked at it, he said, this guy is bothering us. This guy is, no. Get rid of him. And that sent a message to everyone. You could be unhappy, but I am not afraid of kicking you out. I am
Yes.
still the boss. It is my team. So once you put all those factors together, I think you get what he got. And I know everyone wants, before we get to the Arsenal, we'll get to the Arsenal. It's just at times to give credit to a guy who looked at a team and decided, let me switch this. Then there's the siege mentality bit. The moment those 115 charges came out,
Yeah.
he created this thing. They haven't lost a game since that day.
Yeah, true.
They haven't lost a game. And of course, he changed his method. Pep doesn't speak a lot in public. This year he's spoken a gazillion times. Oh, this, oh, that, oh, this, oh, that. He said, I was actually looking for that interview. I just haven't found it. Or the day he was saying, Arsenal will kill us. If we don't change, Arsenal will kill us. So he kept trying. He poked and poked until he found the way to switch them on.
Yeah.
And once they went on, I think it was just unbelievable. Now the next question is going to be, how good are they compared to the other City sides that have won the league? How good are they compared to the other two teams that won the league 3 times in a row? The United of 99, 2000, 2001, and the one of 07, 08, 09. How good are they? How good is this City team? How does it compare even with the former City teams? Because I want us to we'll do the Pep comparison with Barcelona after the Champions League.
Yeah.
I want to store that for after the Champions League. I also want to keep this thing of, is Pep an all-time club manager great, the greatest of all time? I want to keep it after the Champions League. We can have that conversation then. After June 10. Is it June 10?
June 10.
June 11. I guarantee you, we'll have that conversation. But let's just leave it, let him win the Champions League or not, then we see. But just in the league, when you look at it, just maybe to see, where does this City team rank in terms of things? I think that should be the next question we ask ourselves. So let's listen to music. I collect all your thoughts so that I can read them after the next song, because there's a lot of conversation going on Twitter, and then we take it on from there. But yes, stand up for the champions. City are champions. Yes, and they did it the hard way. That actually I think should be the phrase. They did it the hard way. They like, let's just fight. And that clip was it on Instagram or on Twitter? I'll find it for you. Then we'll see. Good morning.
Play all the hits. Keep it turned up. Meru 93.9 Nation FM.